Hello movie lovers, I'm Trenton and I love movies just like you. In today's video, I'll be showing y'all what I watched in February 2021. Follow me on my letterbox if you want to see what I watched throughout each month before I make these videos. If you follow me, I will follow you back. All my other social medias, including my letterbox and other information, will be in the description below. But if you do enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more videos from me, and make sure to hit that notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I post a new video. So let's start. So, the first thing I watched was Saint Maud. I gave it 2.5 stars. And, I mean, here's the synopsis. I don't know how to explain this in my own words, but I'm very conflicted with this movie. I did a whole video on it. It'll be in the eye in the top right corner. But this movie was just very A24. If you've seen any other movies, just very weird and kind of unique in a way. But I just am very in the middle with this movie. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. Yeah, it's very hard to explain how I feel about this movie. The next thing I watched was Promising Young Woman. I gave it 3.5 stars, and it's basically about a young woman haunted by a tragedy in her past and takes revenge on the predatory men unlucky enough to cross her path. This movie was actually very entertaining. I was going to do a video on it, but I don't know. I personally don't know why I did a video on it, but I actually really did enjoy this movie. I did not like the ending that much. I was not a fan of the ending. It was I'm not even going to spoil it because this is not going to be a spoiler type of video, and I don't want to spoil it for the people that haven't seen it, but it's just it's like a revenge type of movie, but it kind of has a twist. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, the next thing I watched was Willy's Wonderland. I gave it 4 stars. I love this movie. It was very fun, very entertaining. I watched it with my mom, and my mom actually enjoyed it, which is kind of surprising. But yeah, it is a very fun movie, fun and entertaining. Basically just about a janitor that has to clean this family fun center with these demonic animatronics that are trying to kill him, and there's like teens that go in there as well. It's just a very interesting movie, and it's just a very fun movie. The next thing that I watched was Texas Chainsaw Massacre, not 1990. I'm so stupid. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974. I gave it 3 stars. I know this is kind of controversial, but I'm not the biggest fan of this movie. The acting really takes me out of it. It's just very over the top acting. And I mean, yeah, it was made in 1974, but that's not really an excuse because Halloween was made, oh my God, what was the year? 1979, I'm not sure. But that movie had better acting than this, and it was just very over the top. It was mainly one part in particular where somebody's friend is getting killed and they're just standing there screaming for a straight 5 to 10 seconds. What are you doing? Literally just run. Gosh, my God. And there's just a lot of overacting. There's a situation in a van, and it just felt very overacted, and it felt very wacky in some scenes. But yeah, I don't hate this movie, but I just don't love it as much as other people do. Next movie I watched was A Nightmare on Elm Street. Gave it 4.5 stars. Obviously, I love this movie. Basically about these teenagers that have to deal with a man that kills people in their dreams. I loved it. I love it. It's just such a fun movie. Just such an iconic movie. It's just so good. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, it's just a really good movie, and I just love it. The next thing I watched was Cherry Falls. I gave it 2 stars. Yikes. Basically, this is just a slasher movie, but with a little twist. The killer goes after virgins instead of people that have sex, which is kind of a twist on the slasher movie subgenre. And I was just very disappointed in this movie. It was just very lackluster because It, like, obviously I love slasher movies, but this movie felt very PG-13 horror type of, it just felt PG-13. And if you know me, you know how I feel about PG-13 slasher movies. Like, it is a subgenre that is based around somebody killing people. So why would you water down the kill? I'm I don't know if this movie is rated PG-13, but with the kills that they had in this movie, it felt very PG-13 to me, and I was just very disappointed with this movie. The next thing I watched was Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. This was the first time I've ever watched it. Like, I've seen the first one so many times. I've seen the reboot so many times, but actually the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, I haven't really seen a lot of those movies. But yeah, this is my first time watching the second one, and I gave it 2.5 stars. Um, Very just wacky, very just weird, very just cartoonish. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was entertained in this movie. Like, it was an entertaining movie, but just compared to the first movie, it just is just really like nowhere different, other than, I mean, Leatherface is in it, and I mean, the main character is a girl. I mean, that's literally the only similarities between the first one and this one. And I mean, there is the family that comes back. So the next movie I watched was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 reboot. I gave it 4.5 stars. I absolutely love this reboot. It's basically, I guess, a more enhanced version of the original 1974 movie, because it's basically like this somewhat of the same story but just different characters. And I mean, there is different elements in this one compared to the other one. The next movie I watched was The Final Girls. I gave it 4 stars. It's basically, yeah, just a slasher movie, but it's more of a horror comedy. It basically kind of makes fun of itself, kind of like Scary Movie, but it's just a very fun movie. I really enjoy it. Oh my God, it's so good. And it's just like so underrated, because I feel like people don't talk about this movie enough. It is so fun and so entertaining. And wow, it's just so emotional as well. Like, ooh, it's just so good. But it's just like so sad. I mean, personally, to me, it's just really sad. But yeah, it's a really good movie and I love it. The next movie I watched, well, the last movie I watched, after this I'm going to go into the shows that I watched, but I watched The Drownsman. I gave it 2 stars. This movie is, I guess it's basically a Nightmare on Elm Street, but instead of falling asleep and him killing you in your dreams, basically, I guess if you touch water, he takes you to his lair. I was just very disappointed in this movie, because when I heard the concept, I was like, wow, this could actually be really, really interesting. But the execution was just very poor. And the pacing of the movie was just it felt very out of order. Like, when you watch the movie, you'll probably feel the same way, but it's just very sloppy. But I did enjoy some sequences in this film. I just kind of wish that there was a little bit more, because it takes a long time for this movie to actually get interesting. Like, the movie's only like 85 minutes and it takes like 45 minutes for stuff to really get interesting, and that's literally half of the movie. Yeah, like, it's just very, I don't know. I personally just didn't like it. And I feel like the movie did not do the poster justice. The poster is so cool. I actually really love the poster. But when it comes to the movie, yeah, I don't. So now I'm going to go into the shows that I watched. I basically watched 3 shows. The first show I watched was the Euphoria special episode, Jules' episode. If you don't know what Euphoria is, it is just... to sum it up, it's very complicated to explain what this is. It's basically just a teenage drama, but it's definitely a little different from normal teenage dramas. It just deals with different elements, and I actually really love this show. Yeah, I gave this I gave this episode 5 stars out of 5. It's so good. It's just so, these special episodes slash bridge episodes are honestly just therapy sessions, and they're just very emotional, and it's just, yeah, I love Euphoria. It's literally one of my favorite shows. It's so good, and I recommend you watch this. I recommend you watch it. It's just so good. The next show that I watched was The Boys season 2. Now, if you don't know what The Boys is, it's basically a raunchy superhero type of show. Basically, if superheroes weren't perfect, it's just very raunchy, and I actually really do enjoy it. But this second season, my anxiety was through the roof. Like, there was an element that they introduced, and oh my god, I it was so hard for me to watch because I just can't deal with the element that they implement in the show. It was just very random, and I really don't like random stuff in shows or movies because I get very anxious. I'm already anxious while watching the show. Well, not necessarily this show, mainly horror movies. I love horror movies, but I get very anxious when I watch them. But this is just so like fun, raunchy. It's just very entertaining, and basically on Letterboxd they don't really have shows on here. They mainly just have movies. But for this show, I probably give it like, well, when it comes to the first season, I'd probably give it like a 4 out of 5. But when it comes to the second season, probably a 3 out of 5. It was still good, but just not as good as the first season. Then the last show that I watched was I May Destroy You. I love this show. I was just not expecting it. It was just it was a very emotional show, but it was also comedic, and it deals with a serious, controversial topic. And same with Promising Young Woman. I mean, if you already didn't get that from the description, but yeah, it involves a controversial situation that is very serious, but it's just very good at combining comedy and seriousness. It's a very interesting show, and I was just not expecting it. It's just very fun, and I highly enjoy it. But out of all the stuff that I watched, I would recommend you watch, obviously, Euphoria. Saint Maud, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a movie that has an audience, but I feel like the general public will probably not necessarily love the movie. Yeah, watch Promising Young Woman, Willy's Wonderland, Texas Chainsaw. I mean, watch it if you want to. I mean, yeah, it's whatever. I'm just very, very just, I don't know. With that, when it comes to that movie, I'm just very what's the word? Very, I don't know. I just don't necessarily like it. Nightmare on Elm Street, obviously watch it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 Reboot, watch it. It's very good. Final Girls, watch it. Yeah, very good. And when it comes to the shows, yeah, watch Euphoria, obviously. I literally just said that twice, but yeah, you need to watch it. It's very good. Watch I May Destroy You, obviously, and then watch The Boys season 1 and season 2. Watch the pilot of season 1, and if you enjoy that pilot, you will most likely enjoy season 1 and season 2. But yeah, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more videos from me, and make sure to hit that notification bell so be notified whenever I post a new video. And remember, all my socials and my Letterboxd and other information will be in the description below. I will see y'all in the next one. Peace out.